I first learned that we were involved with the Department of Children and Families when I received a call from a social worker who was investigating an incident with my children's father. The investigation with DCF began with my ex-husband, and somehow it then became an investigation against me, and it switched over to an investigation against me as the mother of the yeah, and I was very concerned, and it was scary. When I learned from DCF that they were investigating me when I did nothing wrong, I was incredibly stressed out. You can't concentrate, you can't work, you're just constantly worried, waiting for the phone to ring, looking for an email of some terrible news. So it's very stressful. My biggest fear with DCF was they um, were going to find some way to take custody of the children from me. The reason that was my biggest fear is because the investigation seemed to, with DCF, seemed to kind of take a life of its own, where it was clear that the incident took place with my ex, but it somehow turned to be against both of us. And it was concerning to me because um, they were asking questions that seemed to pertain to my parenting, and it just was. I was just concerned for my children and losing custody of them. When this all began with DCF, and I realized that they were, looking into. When I realized that DCF was investigating me, I began researching attorneys and I called a few. I looked online. I reached out to about 5 or 6 different attorneys who specialized in representing DCF cases. And Attorney Seaver came up on several searches as um, someone who had quite a bit of experience. And I called about 4 or 5 attorneys, and Attorney Seaver was very prompt in getting back to me and very reassuring. He came across as someone who had an incredible amount of experience and very professional, and he knew quite a bit of people who work at DCF, and it's all he does. It's all he focuses on, and I felt very comfortable talking to him, and I felt that he was the right attorney for me to work with. The other attorneys I spoke to wanted more information. They were confused as to why this was happening, and they didn't understand why DCF would start an investigation against one parent and then all of a sudden turn to another. And so they didn't seem to. It seemed like I was having to tell them more and kind of help them along. And I really wanted someone who could hit the ground running. And we didn't have enough time to have to learn about the situation. And Attorney Seaver just seemed to know exactly what was happening, and he just came across as someone who would be very easy to work with and with a great deal of experience. Attorney Seaver he just knew the situation right away. He came across as someone who's seen this before, had a great deal of experience in dealing with the DCF and dealing with situations like mine. And he was incredibly easy to talk to. And what was nice about Attorney Seaver is he was right away. Here's my cell phone. Call me anytime. And gave me all the information I needed to make my decision to work with him. Prior to hiring Attorney Seaver, it was definitely very stressful knowing that DCF was involved with my family. After hiring Attorney Seaver, I felt I could sleep at night knowing that there was somebody working on my case day and night and making sure that we were going to be fine. Attorney Seaver was great in executing a plan. He provided me with an insight into what to expect during an interview with DCF and a home visit, and he set out a plan as to what was going to be asked, how one should answer, and what to expect. And it was very comforting knowing that he was going to be there with you every moment of that interview and those visits. And he was constantly reassuring that everything's going to be fine. I'm going to take care of you. And Attorney Seaver delivered. He really was there for us and was incredibly helpful. And it was really nice to have somebody who had the experience and who knew exactly what to say, what to do, and what to expect. It's very comforting. During the calls with DCF, Attorney Seaver was with our family every step of the way. And after the calls, Attorney Seaver was always available after the calls to go through the process of what was said and what was done, and he would follow up with DCF to make sure that they had all the information they needed and that everything um, was that was said was actually uh, recorded by DCF correctly. And that was very helpful, seeing the communications with DCF and Attorney Seaver about my case, knowing that Attorney Seaver was making sure that DCF was clear on uh, my family and where we were at in the investigation. Attorney Seaver really helped guide us, me and the children, through DCF's questions during their home visits. Attorney Seaver was there for us every step of the way, helping us answer with answering questions and also dealing with DCF's difficult questions. And some of DCF's questions were confusing and they were intimidating, and the kids were anxious, and it was definitely causing anxiety. And um, Attorney Seaver was able to help us through this process and protect the kids from any questions from DCF that were, either if it was a bullying type of a question to intimidate. Attorney Seaver was there for the kids, and they answered the questions excellently with attorneys, knowing Attorney Seaver was there protecting them during this interview. Attorney Seaver was excellent in making sure my story was informed to DCF and was told to DCF, and so that DCF would understand it. He really was our advocate. He Attorney Seaver was our advocate for our family. He made sure that my story was told to DCF and that they understood exactly what was going on. And uh, it, there definitely was anxiety prior to working with Attorney Seaver, and it was excellent how Attorney Seaver told our story to DCF and went to and fought for us and made sure that we were going to be okay at the end of the process. And we were. My children enjoyed speaking to Attorney Seaver. He was very professional and very good with the kids. And my kids felt safe, and they felt that they were protected by him, which was great. One thing Attorney Seaver really was excellent with was making sure all the paperwork for the children were up to date with their health forms, and he was constantly in communication with DCF and myself, making sure that we had all the paperwork in for them and that anything that they needed before they even asked, he made sure that that I had those in time and up to date. And he really helped guide us through all the questions from DCF, all the paperwork that they needed. Um, and I really enjoyed working with him and knowing that he was always on our case and communicating with all parties, which was incredibly comforting. Attorney Kevin Seaver made everything easy for me and my family in dealing with DCF. He was excellent to work with and made this whole process um, much easier to to go through and get through, and he did an incredible job representing me and my family. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate Attorney Seaver a 10. He did an incredible job for my family. If somebody was trying to decide whether to hire an attorney or not, or represent themselves in dealing with DCF, especially in a difficult case, and I would most definitely recommend working with Attorney Seaver and hiring and working with Attorney Seaver's office. Not only Attorney Seaver, but his entire staff is excellent. They're always there answering the phone, texting, available via email 24/7. And they're an amazing operation, and it's definitely worth it. If ever a colleague or a neighbor or a friend of mine ever had a run-in with DCF, or had DCF involved in their family or in an incident, I would most definitely recommend Kevin Seaver, or Attorney Seaver. He did an incredible job, and he was there for me and my family during this process. And I believe that he is one of the best attorneys in the state of Massachusetts that really focuses on helping families through the DCF investigations.